Hey there, welcome to the Healthy Church Staff Podcast. My name's Todd Rhoades, one of the co-founders, along with Matt's team over at chemistrystaffing.com. And this week on the podcast, I'm taking a special look at kind of some dicey topics. We're talking about some thoughts that I've put down on paper and want to share with you based on what happened last Saturday night at the White House Correspondents Dinner in Washington, D.C. Now, there are temptations in weeks like this when there's a major political or cultural or news event that happens. There's a real temptation that we have in our churches when we're preaching, when we're teaching, when we're communicating, to be timely, to be relevant, and to weigh in. And I want to push back on that just a tad bit. We're talking about what's said from the stage today. And I realize, again, not everybody's going to agree with me on everything, but I wanted to share some things I've been thinking through and just see if they're resonating out there as well. You can always send me your comments at podcast@chemistrystaffing.com. But here's my thought for today. The pulpit, the stage is not built for hot takes. And the bottom line is your people don't need another voice telling them what to think about the news. The pulpit is for one thing. This is my premise for today, and it's lifting up Jesus. That's it. That's it. Everything else, application, illustration, cultural commentary, all of that serves that one thing, or it just doesn't belong. And that's basically what the Apostle Paul said, I think, when he said, I resolved to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. He wasn't being anti-intellectual. He was being razor-sharp focused. Here's the problem I see whenever we jump on that bandwagon where we're going to address the moment and make it the thing that we're going to talk about this week. Pulpit, I think I mentioned this on Monday when we started the series. Your pulpit is not a cable news desk, okay? And that's what happens when you address a news cycle from the pulpit. It's a trap. It's a trap. Half the room hears what you said. Half the room hears what they think you meant. And a quarter of them text each other before you finish the service. You spent 45 minutes preparing a message, and the only thing anybody remembers is the 11 seconds that you spent on the news. So I'm not saying never address current events. I think that's important. And I think you know where your church is, hopefully, on those kind of how you weave those things into your messages. There are weeks where you just have to. The Sunday after 9/11, the Sunday after the school shooting in your town, those are pastoral moments and you have to speak. But there's a difference between addressing a moment and chasing one. Here's the difference. Addressing the moment means this is in the room and we name it as we walk through it together. Chasing it, on the other hand, means this is in the news, so I'm going to build my sermon around it. The first is very pastoral when you address things. The second, when you chase things, can be a tad bit performative. The harder thing is usually the right thing. All right, here's the truth. The thing to say from the pulpit this week is probably less than what you think. It could be a line in a pastoral prayer. It could be a sentence in the welcome, an acknowledgement that your people are carrying something, and then the gospel. That's it. One of the people that I think does this exceptionally well is Andy Stanley. Now I know there are some Andy Stanley fans. I like Andy. There are some Andy Stanley fans that listen to the podcast. Maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't like Andy Stanley. But regardless of how you feel, here's one thing that I think Andy does really well. He keeps it about the gospel. I know some of you are going to say, no, don't go there. All right. He keeps it about the gospel, but he acknowledges what people are feeling and carrying with them. Whenever there's a big news event, whether it's something like what happened on Saturday night in America, maybe it is something that's, in Andy's case, something that's happening in the city of Atlanta, he mentions it. He prays about it. And he moves on. He doesn't make the whole service about it. So you acknowledge what your people are going through. You acknowledge what they're carrying. Tie that in with your gospel message. That's it. The temptation, though, is to do more. The discipline is to do less, and the discipline is harder. The bottom line for today, your job from the pulpit is not to be timely, it's to be true. Truth has a much longer shelf life than relevance. So maybe you've got the temptation, because this story is not going to go away, at least this week. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it you're going to see it in social media, which is where a lot of your congregation lives. You're going to see it on the news channels, which is where a lot of your congregation lives. They're watching the news channels a lot more than they're reading their Bible. This story is not going to go away. And if you're not disciplined, you're going to want to mention this more on Sunday than probably what you should. Look at your sermon for this Sunday and ask yourself, am I addressing the moment or am I chasing it? And if you can't really tell, ask a staff member you trust to read it. Write one sentence, just one, that you'll add maybe to your pastoral prayer this week. Make it about your country, about leaders, about the church being a refuge, and that's probably enough. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to unpack this even a little bit more. We're going to talk about safety. What does it mean to make your church a safe place? And why being a safe place doesn't mean that it's a soft place. So hang with me. We've got two more tomorrow and Friday that we're going to be talking about this. So don't judge me too much. I would love to hear how you're working through events like this, because as I said on Monday, these type of things, these shootings that take on national attention and political overtones that we saw on Saturday night, things like the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a lot of these things, it seems like this type of thing is happening more and more. It's dividing more and more people, and more of those people that are divided on both sides, on all sides, are coming to your church. So that's what we're trying to talk about. Love to hear your stories. If you want to push back, do so nicely. Don't write me anything really mean. That's what I'm trying to get away from during this series. But reach out to me, podcast@chemistrystaffing.com. And if there's any way that we can help you with your church, particularly when it comes to healthy church staff, reach out to me, podcast@chemistrystaffing.com, or just go ahead and visit us. We've got a lot of people ready and able to assist you in any of those areas. And if you'd like to hear more from what I'm reading, I read like 50 different sources every day. I've just put together a new daily email newsletter, absolutely free. You can get that by just heading over to Church Leadership Radar, churchleadershipradar.com. All right, that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining. Tomorrow, come on back, and we're going to continue to tackle this topic. It's a fun one, right? It's fun. Yeah, there we go. All right, have a great day.